Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. My wife is Captain Marvel. Chapter 81 War Machine People. Click. Taking the phone from Stark, Howard studied it carefully. He put Tony's mobile phone on the instrument, and through the analysis of the instrument, a three-dimensional mobile phone model analysis diagram appeared on the big screen. There are dots of light on this screen. Howard moves the mouse, and the cursor on the screen moves accordingly. When the light is clicked, the specific data is completely analyzed. Oh, God, this phone is quite smart. There is already a hint of automatic prototype. Seeing some detailed data of the mobile phone in front of him, Howard's eyes suddenly became energetic, quite exciting. But he still turned his head from time to time and looked at his son. The look in the eyes is quite funny, incredible, comforting, and proud at the same time. 49-7 seems to be saying, I am indeed the son of Howard Stark. How about, old man, do you understand? Would you like me to explain to you? While talking, Stark walked towards Howard. Howard was akimbo, looking like a senior expert. Tony, what do you think you and I do? Your idea is subtle but true, but it is still a bit lacking and not intelligent enough. If you upgrade and strengthen it reasonably, the most fundamental intelligent problem of artificial intelligence can be solved in an instant. Howard used his facial features to tell his son, I am always your father, I know more than you, and I am better than you. Stark is a little speechless. He feels that he really has no common language with his old man. It's all like this, who is showing this picture to show? Give to me. Stark was disdainful at all. Tony, come and see this. Li Wei turned on a computer next to him. This is some artificial intelligence data pulled from Hydra. The main research of Hydra over the years is the direction of artificial intelligence. So Li Wei wanted to hear Stark's opinion, but Howard frowned slightly. He was about to stop, but his son's eyes seemed to shine there. Oh, my God, this, data, artificial intelligence, intelligent robot. It's so cool, this is a topic I have always wanted to develop. Stark took off his sunglasses and stared at Li Wei with an incredible look. Who researched this? Right. He subconsciously turned his head to look at his father, but Li Wei waved his hand at him. Tony, don't look at it, this is not your father's research. Not him. Who is that? To be honest, Stark was quite surprised. He also has a lot of time to study artificial intelligence. It can be said that he has a certain say in this aspect. But right now, the information displayed on the computer seemed to have opened a new door for him. War machine people. This is an extremely terrifying idea, but if this topic is successful, it means that the future world structure may change for it. Stark is an unusual dude, so when he saw these materials, he was a little excited. He felt that this guy around his age was really extraordinary. There are such good things. Then, Mr. Li, these data are. Stark tried to ask. Li Wei definitely knew what he thought, and said lightly, I got it in a scientific research base. Roar, it's okay. Tony breathed a sigh of relief. He thought that Li Wei had invaded the United States Department of Defense. In fact, it is the first time that Li Wei has looked through these data carefully. At Hydra's base a few days ago, he only glanced at it for the first time. Now that he takes a closer look, he feels more and more in his heart that this Hydra is indeed a fanatic. These related artificial intelligence, as well as the research of war machine people, have surpassed the world for decades. It is not a problem at all to have these data to research top artificial intelligence and to create war machine people. Roar, it's really cheap for me. Li Wei smiled slightly. Just do it. He called Alfred and asked him to call someone over, who was Lucius. Soon, Lucius came to the laboratory. Sir, you called me, what's the matter? Come on, Lucius, look at these drawings and the data. Li Wei separately adjusted Hydra's data and drawings related to war machine people, and then placed them in front of Lucius. Sir, what do you want? Lucius also saw the value of these materials at a glance. I want you to help me create these war machine people, which will be of great use next. Well, yes, sir. Lucius' eyes lit up. As a person loyal to Li Wei, he naturally agreed without hesitation. However, Howard frowned and expressed his concerns. Li, it seems illegal to make these war machine people. Howard had obviously guessed it, creating these war machine people, plus his own artificial intelligence. Li Wei can get a group of extremely powerful steel legions in an instant. And the use of these Iron Legions is probably to attack Wakanda. Howard. Li Wei looked at him suddenly, smiled faintly. Is it illegal? What is the law? Howard was stunned. He did not understand. In this world, the strong is Wong Fa, and I am the strong. So, I am Dharma. Li Wei's domineering words stunned Howard instantly. To be honest, he seemed to have met Li Wei for the first time. He also suddenly remembered. The first time he met Li Wei that day, he seemed to blow up the strategic science core directly. Is there a FA in this person's eyes? There seems to be none. Old man, you don't seem to be a person who obeys the law. Now you are discussing the law with people. She Stark looked at his father with an extremely weird look, and Howard's face couldn't help but sink. Tony, you go away. Gentlemen, She Stark is not afraid of his father at all. He shrugged towards Li Wei. I think it is quite wrong for you to cooperate with the old man, or else, you cooperate with me. You made this war machine person, you can just give me one. She Stark showed a harmless smile, almost mad at Howard. The father and son were about to quarrel again. Li Wei shook his head. Okay, I'll leave it to you here, I'm upstairs. I have more important things to do. That is to extract Aquaman. This is one thing to increase one's own strength. Li Wei can be said to be a little impatient. Chapter 82. Within the scientific research base. Stark was still arguing with his dad Howard. Wow, old man, no wonder you don't go home, with such a cool partner. If it were me, I won't go home either. Tony's eyes shone a little, and the whole person was indescribably excited, as if there was something fun waiting for him to do. Protruding, he even patted Howard on the shoulder while talking. This time, Howard can be completely offended. Originally, I had a big opinion about my son. This time, I directly exploded. Who is your kid talking to? I'm your father. Get out. Howard pointed at the door with an angry expression on his face. She Stark seems to often annoy Howard, and there is no fear at all, and he still speaks in the air. I am not going out, I am a contributor to the project you want to study. He is determined to stay, and study together. Oh wait, by the way, let the war machine people play tricks. Howard was also a little helpless. His own son is his nemesis. He sighed, then waved his hand and said, okay, you kid, let's go, and leave the rest to me and Mr. Lucius. Howard held the phone and waved his hand to drive Tony away. She Stark remained motionless. Howard suddenly reacted. By the way, don't you need to go to school? It's summer vacation now. Stark was a little contemptuous. Howard coughed. It's summer vacation, don't mess with me. Go home and play. Howard is still suspicious of wanting to let his son go. Old man, why are you as naive as a kid? She Stark suddenly came to the computer and pointed to the artificial intelligence data and said, are you afraid that I will surpass you here, steal your limelight, and make you faceless? What did you say? You. Howard's beard trembled with anger, and finally, in Lucius's smirk, he shook his hand. Okay, you want to stay, right? You kids stay here for me, and I will let you see and let you understand how correct it is that you Lao Su is always your Lao Su. After hearing what his father said, She Stark was secretly happy in his heart, and he succeeded in his stimulating method. This old man really took it. Then, Howard and his son, as well as the three of Lucius, joined the research on war machine people and artificial intelligence. But downstairs, Li Wei was planning the next series of matters. Wakanda, this is his next goal, so he must arrange in advance. Snapped. Li Wei turned on the computer and started contacting Nick Fury. Soon, Nick Fury's face appeared on the computer screen. Hey, sir, what can I do for you? Nick Fury is now fully involved in the role of S.H.I.E.L.D. director, and the whole person looks very energetic. But Li Wei's words instantly dispelled the boy's arrogant attitude. Nick, do something for me. Yes. Nick's expression receded suddenly, and his eyes fixed on Li Wei, waiting for his next words. Give me the information about Wakanda, and then give it to me. Wakanda, that mysterious country. Nick's expression turned a little weird. Obviously, as a black man, he knew exactly what this place was. As the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., he is also familiar with the mysterious country of Africa. Yes, remember, the information must be comprehensive, and give me everything that can be collected. Okay, sir, no problem. Is there anything else? Although Nick is curious about Li Wei's request for Wakanda information, as a competent subordinate, he also knows what to ask and what not to ask. Temporarily unavailable. Li Wei knocked on the table with his hand, just about to close the video, but suddenly thought of something in his mind. Wait. He thought carefully, and suddenly thought of a very crucial place. You look up a person's information for me, and give it to me along with Wakanda's information. Who? Ulysses Crow. Quote question mark quote. Nick, the black question mark, went around in his mind. He just didn't have any impression of this guy. How did the boss know this person? Nick has to sigh. Li Wei's intelligence circle is powerful. He definitely doesn't know that Li Wei knows many things in the Marvel world. Like this Ulysses Crow. This guy is a key person who must have entered Wakanda by himself. Ulysses Crow, in the original book, he is a supervillain and an acoustic physicist. In order to seize the hardest metal sound-absorbing steel on the earth, vibranium, he sneaked into Wakanda and launched a coup. King T'Chaka, who resisted their invasion, died. That is, the old 497 father of Black Panther. However, in the original movie, this guy is a dealer of rare metal materials, specializing in selling all kinds of rare metal materials in the world. Vibranium is one of the metals he sells. This vibranium of Captain America's shield was stolen from Wakanda by this guy. At this time, Ulysses Crow, Li Wei estimated that he should have been in a relationship with the younger brother of the Wakanda king T'Chaka, Niqab. This Niqab is the spokesperson and diplomat of Wakanda in the outside world. The difference from his older brother Black Panther T'Chaka is that Niqab's personality is particularly radical. He does not want Wakanda to be in a corner and hide in Africa. After all, he has such a powerful technology. Conquering the world and helping black talents is the most important thing. Therefore, he likes to do little tricks in private, and all the vibranium circulating in the outside world should be sold from his channel. Through this Ulysses Crow, Li Wei can find Niqab and thus have the opportunity to enter Wakanda. Okay, there is no problem, we will start investigating and sorting out the information right away. After the conversation, Li Wei turned off the computer and then started to do something he had been waiting for. Extract heroes. And, or 2. Chapter 83. Li Wei took out the bat phone. The page that appears above is still the one that was frozen before. Congratulations to the host. Unlock DC superhero Aquaman, extract or summon. Extract. Li Wei made a choice without hesitation. Aquaman's ability is better to be mastered by yourself. After extracting the choice, Li Wei instantly felt a wave of waves coming towards him. In front of him, there seemed to be an extremely deep blue light flashing. Exclamation mark. Then, this faint blue light instantly entered his body. With the entrance of the blue light, his whole body has been transformed countless times, and the earth-shaking changes have taken place once again. The first is perception, which is more acute and powerful than before. Then came the body. Li Wei's body grew taller abruptly, marching toward 190 centimeters, but it didn't look tall, because his body was quite burly. The legs look slender and straight, while the chest muscles and abdominal muscles are more obvious. The whole person is undoubtedly much stronger than before. Especially his arms, the muscles on them are well proportioned and strong, and they are full of a sense of strength ready to go. Li Wei believes that with a punch now, he is estimated to be able to shoot a strong man like Robin directly out of 100 meters, exploding all over his body. This is his current perverted strength. Li Wei now looks like a strong man of 1.9 meters. However, these are not the biggest changes. The biggest change is Li Wei's own legs. Buzzing. The muscles on his calf seemed to be beating non-stop, like countless hearts, with vitality and explosive power. It is the perfect leg shape that mankind hopes for. The legs seem to be sucking in that roar, with amazing reaction and perception. Super endurance, super strength, super senses, super reaction, super speed, super endurance, these seem to be bestowed by the legs. The skin seems to become abnormally moist, as if there is a layer of mist at all times. Li Wei closed his eyes and felt his own changes deeply. This is different from the superb power of the Flash, but a metamorphosis of the body from the inside out, which is undoubtedly more powerful than the super soldier serum. It's cool. This is Aquaman, Li Wei murmured, and then his eyes opened suddenly, a light blue light flashed. If he used to be able to abuse his opponents with a bug-like speed, now he is undoubtedly powerful in the true sense. Aquaman is more powerful than Aquaman Arthur. Because his physical fitness is stronger, his speed is faster, and his mind has inherited Batman's genes, which is perfect. Wow! Li Wei felt the power of Aquaman in his body, then walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows in his room, pushed with both hands, and directly pushed the floor-to-ceiling windows open. Let me see the true strength of Aquaman. Taste. The red and yellow electric lights flashed, and Li Wei's figure had disappeared. In the next second, he appeared on a cliff by the sea. This cliff is the most dangerous location on the seashore, and no one has ever been up. Roar. Standing on the cliff, Li Wei stretched his arms, feeling the rolling sea below, the rolling waves constantly rising on the sea, as if calling something. They are uninterrupted for fear of hitting the cliff, making a rumbling sound like a muffled thunder. Feeling the vibration from the cliff, Li Wei experienced the power of the ocean and the power of the ocean. This is a kind of ocean charm that he has never experienced before. Dripping water can wear stones. The flood can destroy the world. This is the sea. The previous Li Wei did not inherit the power of Aquaman, so he has no such feeling at all. And now, he felt that there was quite cordial. The waves were blowing on the face, and there was a feeling of returning to nature. It's wonderful. Is this the call of the ocean? Li Wei lowered his head and looked down. In his own eyes, several people's file-sized stones were as small as a beetle. This shows how high the cliff is. If it's someone else, I might start to feel dizzy, and feel dizzy when I look at it, my legs become soft, and then I fall off. But Li Wei's heart is extremely peaceful. He has an urge, a feeling of wanting to jump into the sea at once and swim freely. Roar. The next moment, Li Wei jumped and rolled into the surging waves. Boom. Just seeing the splash of water, Li Wei seemed to be swallowed by the waves. But Li Wei's legs were only slightly avoided, but the whole person was already like a torpedo, going through the sea wantonly, even faster than the torpedo. Horn. Li Wei travels endlessly in the ocean, feeling his speed in the ocean. This is Aquaman's super endurance, which allows him to be completely unaffected by the temperature, depth, water pressure, etc. in the sea. In the sea, Li Wei is almost flat on the ground. The endless roar sucks, so that he doesn't feel suffocated at all. On the contrary, it makes him feel more comfortable than land. Amphibious roar sucks. This is another unique ability of Aquaman. It can suck roar freely on land and underwater, relying on his skin. And the effect of body change is perfectly reflected when traveling through the sea. He thought it was a swimming fish. His legs were more flexible than a fish's tail fin, and his powerful arms were countless times more useful than a fish's dorsal fin. When swimming, Li Wei's streamlined figure completely removes the resistance of the sea, allowing him to swim unimpeded in the ocean. Sure enough to be the overlord of the sea. This is simply invincible. Who else is my opponent in the sea? Li Wei feels more relaxed. He feels that he is now more invincible than land. Looking around, the world he controlled was so wonderful and dreamy that it exploded. The faint blue underwater world, the beautiful and deep ocean, the dense land that everyone in the world can find out, is now in full view by Li Wei. Around him, there are 6 colored corals with no words, and various underwater creatures. They live freely in the sea, carefree. Wow! Countless creatures passed by him, even great white sharks and giant whales, all cast surrender eyes at Li Wei. All marine creatures can't hide in Li Wei's eyes. This is a super sense organ that can be seen in the dark sea and heard a few miles away with the sirens. Even, he can understand the joy, anger, sorrow, and joy of these creatures. That is telepathy with various marine life. Li Wei, who owns Aquaman, can understand the mind of every sea creature, communicate with them, and control them for his own use. Ah, 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 countless creatures gathered towards Li Wei. In the end, a huge amounts of monojiao encircled circle was formed beside him. Great white sharks, giant whales, giant squids, the countless creatures at the top of the ocean food chain swept toward Li Wei and bowed their bodies, as if welcoming them the king. Yes, the king of the ocean, Li Wei. After he received Aquaman's extraction, he was the king of the sea in this world. The only master. Spread it away. Li Wei waved his hand, and immediately, countless creatures swam away reluctantly. Before leaving, they all cast their kindest farewell search towards Li Wei. This is pure marine life. Boom. But at this moment, under the ground, there was a sudden surging sound of huge amounts of, as if something was breaking through the ground. Bar. Li Wei's eyes condensed, and the marine creatures who had just left were all a little panicked. Wow, countless waves are surging, and the entire ocean is completely chaotic. Various creatures are wailing there. Li Wei can hear the fear in their hearts. Obviously, there is something awesome about to be born. Chapter 84. Boom. Just as Li Wei was thinking, a giant white shadow rushed towards him. The strong water waves caused huge amounts of impact, and countless marine creatures directly faced each other and were strangled by this force. The blood, all at once filled the bottom of the sea. The smell of blood, even the countless creatures on the seabed, completely started to fight. Li Wei felt the coming of this powerful killing intent, and it was obvious that the goal was himself. Strong waves of seawater surged towards him. In an instant, Li Wei finally saw the behemoth rushing towards him. What is it? Shark. A shark whose tail cannot be seen with huge amounts of. Li Wei inspected it visually, and the shark was almost 20 to 30 meters in length. The shark's skin was full of muddy smell, and it seemed to have been sleeping on the bottom of the sea for countless years. Unlike the white appearance of the great white shark, the skin of this shark is gray, full of prehistoric and ancient atmosphere. Gives people a sense of extreme danger. Is this a megalodon? Li Wei was a little shocked. When his legs were swinging, he rushed out for countless meters, and the shark's attack was flashed. Wow! Megalodon 510 opened its mouth wide and bit down instantly. Boom! Countless marine creatures were swallowed into his stomach at once, and even with countless seawater, they desperately poured into his mouth. But its eyes are staring at Li Wei not far away at this time. Obviously, it thought it was going to hit a blow, and was actually avoided by the other party, so its ferocious little eyes were full of differences. It really is a megalodon. Li Wei's pupils shrank, and he finally saw the true face of the giant ocean beast in front of him. The 40-meter-long huge body is absolutely domineering in the ocean. The key is that his row of teeth is comparable to the alloy gate, sharp as jagged. Just now Li Wei saw it with his own eyes, a 6 to 7 meter long one. The killer whale was swallowed directly by him. Unexpectedly, there really is such a prehistoric creature. Li Wei couldn't help but took a breath. This megalodon is an ancient predator of the ocean. This shark is an average of 14 meters long and 40 tons in weight. Some of the vertebrae fossils of megalodon have been discovered, which are much larger than those of great white sharks. It is speculated that it may have a variety of more than 20 to 30 meters. This creature is also one of the creatures with the strongest bite force (AIBC) found in the history of the Earth. The maximum bite force is estimated to be 20 tons. Its mouth bite force even exceeds that of Tyrannosaurus rex, and it can easily bite whales. Ribs. This powerful creature lived from the late Oligocene 15 million years ago to the early Pleistocene 2.6 million years ago. It is praised by many paleontologists as the most powerful creature in the history of the Earth. This is a stronger existence than Tyrannosaurus. Unexpectedly, Li Wei saw it. Hold head high. Huge amounts of roar waves emitted from the mouth of the megalodon. It was quite dissatisfied with Li Wei's breath. The aura exuding from the tiny human body in front of him made it very upset. This is a very long-lasting feeling, as if one wants to listen to this little creature in front of him. This made the megalodon feel a threat. Roar. The breath of killing spread, and countless creatures began to attack each other the moment the megalodon appeared. The entire seabed has been completely messed up. A trace of anger flashed through Li Wei's eyes. Alright, the new official has 3 fires and uses your blood to celebrate my glory on the Aquaman throne. Above Li Wei's body, a wave of invisible ripples suddenly appeared. The ripples spread uncontrollably, silently, but all living things were sensed. The beluga and tiger sharks that were fighting and killing, and the great white sharks swallowing small shrimps all stopped their movements, and then their fierce expressions receded and became extremely docile. All creatures stopped fighting, and looked back at the man floating in the center of the ocean, exuding ripples that made them surrender. Telepathy, the magical skill of Aquaman, can control all creatures in the ocean, including megalodons. Surrender me, or die. Li Wei directly invaded the megalodon's mind with sound waves. This huge amounts of marine monsters suddenly roared there. Too painful. Long ago painful memories eroded its mind all at once. It's this kind of breath that makes it feel scared. It's coming again. Roar. The water waves on the bottom of the sea were surging endlessly, and the original ferocious eyes of the megalodon turned blood red. It stared at Li Wei firmly, trying to swallow him in one bite. It has not been tamed, nor is it willing to surrender. In that case, then, it seems that you chose to die. Right. As soon as Li Wei's voice fell, the power in his body was instantly frozen in his hands. Then, boom, punch, the fist carrying the super soldier serum, the power of lightning, and the power of Aquaman slammed on the huge body of the megalodon. Rumble. The endless sea water instantly repelled out, and the megalodon huge amounts of body revolved on the bottom of the sea. A dazzling red blood stream dyed the seabed red in an instant. This is the blood of a megalodon. The megalodon's abdomen was punched by Li Wei forcibly. All the creatures around, showing a touch of fear, shivered there. Including beluga whales and great white sharks, they all floated in the ocean, with humanized fear shining in their eyes. Get me up. Li Wei tore his hands fiercely, and then the whole body's strength surged. The sea water loomed out in an instant. Boom. Huge amounts of power spread all over his body, and the seawater was constantly rising upwards. Li Wei directly supported the huge body of the megalodon shark and drained the endless seawater below the ground. He lifted the megalodon up on the bottom of the sea, and lifted out of the sea. Boom, 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 boom. Countless waves continued to beat, forming a huge amounts of vortex. At the very center of the vortex is Li Wei with the megalodon body in his hands. He is like a god, coming out from the sea level. Hold head high. The moment the water came out, the megalodon roared in pain, and the moment Li Wei hit his body with his fist, it already felt a breath of death. It is terrified. It began to beg for mercy. But obviously, it's too late. Boom. The waves are rising and overwhelming. The entire Atlantic Ocean was completely chaotic, like a tsunami, with countless waves of more than 10 meters high. Boom. In the end, all the waves fell, knocking the sea level out of countless vortexes, and after the vortexes dissipated, a picture that no one dared to imagine was revealed. A man, barefoot, holding up a huge shark dozens of times larger than his body, walking forward on the waves. He just walked on the sea level step by step. Behind him, countless giant whales, sharks, and sea turtles all surrendered under his feet. The whole ocean is in harmony. As if it calmed down in an instant. Chapter 85. Now, urgently interrupt a piece of news. Due to unexplained ocean convection, the sea level on the north coast of the Atlantic Ocean has risen. The northern coast of Los Angeles will likely trigger a tsunami. Please stay away from the Atlantic coast. The seabed is shaking too much, and it has attracted the attention of the outside world. Butler Alfred, Robin and others were also shocked by this sudden ocean sound. They all stood on the coast of Wayne Manor, staring sadly at the huge waves that suddenly rolled up. I don't know, Master. Where did you go? Yeah, this tsunami is coming, the manor is not guaranteed. Alfred and Robin frowned, looking at the huge waves that were constantly surging in front of them, one after another, as if to swallow the entire coast. Boom. Just when they were all horrified by the waves, a huge wave rising into the sky made them all a little desperate. The waves rushed into the air. The big wave couldn't see the side at all, watching the wave traverse towards Wayne Manor. Robin covered his face and couldn't believe it. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver opened their mouths wide, which was completely unacceptable. But what shocked them even more was that behind Li Wei, there were countless whales and great white sharks. They formed a neat and orderly array, following not too close, as if flocking Li Wei back to the land. Boom. Li Wei kicked his feet on the sea abruptly, causing huge waves, and the others had soared into the sky, hovering in the air like an eagle, and finally landed on the shore. As for the megalodon, Li Wei has been like a dead dog and went directly to the shoreline. Boom. The megalodon huge amounts of body hit the ground, splashing countless flying sand and walking stones, but it is clear that this ancient overlord of the prehistoric has been completely dead. It was punched to death by Li Wei. This, definitely the price to offend Aquaman. Roar. Countless marine creatures all surfaced and made an extremely humanized bowing motion to Li Wei, and then reluctantly returned to the ocean. 0. Look for flowers. There was a dead silence in the audience, except for the roar's howling sea breeze, there was no more sound. Although Li Wei's whole body was completely wetted by the sea water, his body was still as straight as a javelin, and the curve was perfectly carved like marble. The faces that Scarlet Witch looked at were a little hot. Go home. Nothing. Good looking, grilled shark tomorrow. Li Wei smiled slightly at the dumbfounded subordinates. Wonder Woman was the first to react, shook her head slightly, and then stared at Li Wei firmly and said, "You are stronger again." "Yes, my Diana, your master has become stronger again, so, you have to work harder." 0. Li Wei walked to Wonder Woman and patted her fragrant shoulder slightly. Wonder Woman's face changed slightly, but she nodded solemnly, "Yes, sir." "Well, let's go home." Li Wei recruited Roar and a group of people. Robin turned his head and looked at the megalodon on the coastline, and couldn't help but swallowed his saliva. Then, staring at Li Wei's back, all showed a deep sense of fear. Who would have thought that the tsunami just now was caused by the man in front of him? And, actually let the sea creatures completely surrender. In this short midnight, everyone did not know what happened, but they knew that Li Wei's strength was unfathomable. "You deserve to be young master." Robin sighed there, and glanced at the butler Alfred, and both laughed bitterly at random. Compared with Li Wei, they are weaker than ordinary people. Fortunately, this is their master, not the enemy. Drop, drop, drop. Li Wei took a shower and returned to the room, but the bat phone rang again. Li Wei unlocked a DC hero, but in fact, defeated Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. He unlocked both. There is also a DC hero, it's time to unlock it. Li Wei definitely did not forget, but for this DC hero, Li Wei did not choose to extract, but summon. Because she is female. J.